can go wherever you want, see whatever you want to, but a place is only as good as the people you know in it. I think this is a pretty good place. Welcome back, legends.
So I've heard that you want some more, you're ready and willing to settle the score. 90 plus episodes, yet so much in store. That amazing iceberg, we ain't hit the core, Ever wonder what made Devil Man cry, or why this guy conspire with his devilish eye? No need to question or prod and pry. Just watch me on YouTube till your neurons fry. Check it. Season 1 got that out of the way. Season 2 kid stuff, you know we don't play. Season 3 that's garbage, better throw it away. Season 4 in the door and it's here to stay. We got hours of info that you can't ignore, like a hit from Raccoon or a Snorlax snore. Anime's the currency, and if you're feeling poor, just tune into Anime Legends Season.
Hello, everybody. Wow. We were just in the intro and we already got Tricks in here. That's gotta be a record. Says yo Tricks, what is up? Hey, hello everybody. My name is Afro-X, the anime guide, here to guide the new into some of the old and the old into some of the new. And today we are certainly going to be guiding the old into some of the new, because today we are talking about the brand spanking new anime, Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. Super excited. Actually, last week on Thursday, it was on Thursday, yeah. Last week on Thursday, I went to a pre-launch party for this anime. And it was amazing. It was hosted by 2D Con, which, if you don't know, is one of the conventions that goes on here in Minnesota every year. I haven't been to the actual 2D Con, but I do plan to coming up. Anyways, I went to their Scott Pilgrim event, and it was awesome. They had the Scott Pilgrim video game on Switch. So I played a little bit of that. They had Scott Pilgrim trivia. And I'm not that familiar with the comics, so I ended up getting about a 7 out of 12, which honestly is not bad, and that's still technically passing. But that's my Scott Pilgrim knowledge. And then we did a quote along and we watched the entire movie there on a big theater screen, which was a really, really cool experience. And I'm glad that got to happen. So that was fun. And so tonight, I've watched the first 2 episodes of Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, and I'm going to tell you what I think about them. But first of all, I got a couple of things to show off. There was a woman there who was running the event, and I asked her to sign the print that I got. I got this print of Stills, Scott, and Kim Pines playing in the band, and she put "We Are Sex Bomb" on it, which I asked her to. And it was really, really cool. So that's a nice print. I am actually keeping it up on my shelf right over there in the meantime. Also, I had a choice between a lot of different pins that I could get. But you know me, the hopeless romantic, the sim. I got the have you seen a girl with hair that looks like this pin? For Scott looking for Ramona Flowers. I just thought it would be really cool. I thought it would be a nice intro to a conversation if I put it on a hat or a nice coat or something. Anyways, Trick says, I'm surprised it got an animated show so late. Yeah. So, and it got animated at a weird time. So, based on what I know, the Scott Pilgrim movie came out, which, by the way, is by acclaimed director Edgar Wright, who's absolutely amazing. He also did Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and a bit more famously, Baby Driver, which I absolutely love. But yeah, so Scott Pilgrim versus the World came out back in 2010, and easily well, not even in the top 10. It is my second favorite movie, right under Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure at the top. So yeah, Scott Pilgrim versus the World, my second favorite movie of all time. Trick says that poster looks so dope. It does indeed, and thank you. So I'm not gonna waste any more time. I am going to hop right into this. As I said before, I watched the first 2 episodes of Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. So if my review is a little bit different than what you thought, I've just gotten a small taste of it, so it might be a little bit different in the future. And I'm sorry about my hair tonight. I straight up look like Victor Timely from Loki. If any of you have seen that. I will give a warning right here that this review is going to have major spoilers for the first 2 episodes of Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. So if you haven't seen it yet, be a good idea to kind of just leave this one alone. Come back next week. We'll be talking about something else that probably doesn't have spoilers. No promises. Anyways, Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. So, that's right. So 13 years later, from when the movie was made, an anime has been made of Scott Pilgrim, and pretty much you start off watching it, and it looks like a shot-for-shot remake of the movie, and you're wondering if that's going to be it. One thing that I didn't like that they changed, which I don't think they should have changed, was they changed the intro song in the beginning. So you know the shot in the movie where right at the beginning Kim Pines yells, "We are Sex Bomb 1 2 3 4," and they start playing. In the original movie, they play a song which is titled "We Are Sex Bomb." And in this, they play a song titled "I Feel Fine," which I didn't like that. I thought they should have gone with the original "We Are Sex Bomb" song because it's iconic and it pulls you into it pulls you into the world. What they did with the Scott Pilgrim versus the World movie is you have "We Are Sex Bomb 1 2 3 4," and then you get this down you get this dan na 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 dan dan down dan na 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 dan dan, and then it goes dan na 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 na, and that tonal shift to like a half step higher, up and down, it makes you feel like you're being thrown into like a spiral, like in Samurai Jack or something. And especially with the graphics that they had, the very like Mad Mod, punk, think Hobie Brown from Spider-Man into the Spider-Verse type graphics. And you hear that and you feel like you are being thrown into a completely different world. And with the new intro, the "I Feel Fine" song, I didn't get that same feeling, which was disappointing. So that was a bit of a downer. I will say one thing I noticed right away. They got all of the original voice actors to come back and play the parts, of which I don't even know how you got some of them. I don't know how you got Chris Evans to come back, Captain America himself. I don't know how you got Jason Schwartzman to come back, because those guys have had huge movie careers. Little known fact, though, Aubrey Plaza, her first big role in Hollywood was Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Um, and she plays that girl who is at who works at the coffee shop with what is it, Scott's sister Stacy, and she plays that girl who like in the movie they had to bleep all of her swear words because she swears like every other word, and it has the funniest line and one of my probably my favorite line in the movie where she's swearing at him and it keeps bleeping her, and Scott looks at her and says, "How do you keep doing that with your mouth?" Which out of context would sound weird and crazy, but I thought that was pretty funny. Anyways, that's Aubrey Plaza's part. But I mean, even Aubrey Plaza, I don't know how you got her to come back because she's had such a big career being in Legion. Legion was a big one, but she's been in so many other stuff. So amazing that they got the original voices or the original actors to come back and reprise their roles. That was really, really cool. But yeah, in the show, the dubbing was a bit weird, and I wonder if there's a Japanese version that I'll like more. I doubt it, but maybe there is. But the dubbing definitely seemed out of sync. All of the mouths on them are drawn as rectangles that are moving at like different angles to represent a mouth moving. And my brain doesn't connect that with, hey, you're saying this vowel and your mouth is still a square. That doesn't make sense to me. I mean, they do that in anime with lip flaps, and I've learned about dubbing and stuff like that. But in anime, they meticulously go and make sure that the animation goes along with what's being said. And I feel like they didn't really put that much effort into the dubbing. And there were definitely some times that I was watching, and I just really felt like I was watching I was watching an anime, but I was hearing pre-recorded lines from the movie. As if they didn't really. I found this on the web for pre-recorded lines from the movie. Check it out. I'm not talking to you, Siri. Sorry, she's dumb sometimes. Anyways, but yeah, I felt like I was hearing pre-recorded lines from the movie, as if they didn't actually get the voice actors, or they didn't actually get the actors to come back and play their roles, but they were using some of their lines from the movie. And not all of the lines are the same. A lot of them are, but they do deviate a little bit. So pretty much the first, I'd say, 15 minutes of it is a shot-for-shot remake of Scott Pilgrim versus the World in an anime form. Even down to panning through Wallace's apartment and showing what items belong to Wallace and the like 2 items that belong to Scott. But it's sped up a lot because they pretty much take the first half hour of the movie and smash it into 15 minutes of an anime. Yeah, that it's difficult to do that. So pretty much blah 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 blah, we move forward. Scott meets Ramona at the party, and they kind of pull a trick on us. They do a joke because you think that he's gonna do the Puckman line to her, but he actually gives her a Sonic the Hedgehog fact, which I thought was an interesting spin, a different take on it. So they do that, and him and Ramona have the one night stand, or as I like to call it, based on the scene titled in the movie, Ramona Come Closer, which I love that part of the movie. It's great. It's a great part. I sounded like Donald Trump right there. Why? Anyways, um, yeah. So one night stand, yada yada yada. They get to the rocket. Pretty much it happens as it actually did. Except in this version, Crash and the boys are not there. They decided to bail, probably thinking that Sex Bomb was not that good of a band. And so Sex Bomb gets on stage, starts playing, and of course, bing bang boom, Matthew Patel crashes through the ceiling, starts fighting Scott. And before the battle really gets in, we have a huge deviation from the original plot, and Matthew Patel in one punch actually kills Scott. So yeah, at the end of the first episode, the main character is dead. So that's about where the story takes a huge 180 shift. It's a kind of a new universe where Scott Pilgrim like died fighting the first Evil X, where he wasn't just an amazing and extremely lucky fighter. We get to the second episode. We start following Ramona Flowers. She's really the only main character left. So she goes to Scott's funeral, and it's an open casket, and all that's left of Scott is like, I think it's like 2 pennies and like a dime or something like that. It's like 12 cents. He wasn't worth much. Anyways, Ramona comes to his funeral, and Envy Adams kind of shows up and kind of makes it all about her. This is after Knives comes in and accuses Ramona of getting Scott killed. And then Envy Adams shows up and does a rendition of I Will Remember You in the church, and kind of makes it about herself. And then she just leaves without really saying anything. And so then we shift over to a scene of the 7 Evil X's. They all get an invitation to Gideon's lair. And when they show up there, pretty much it turns out that Matthew Patel has pretty much come up with a plan, and he says he wants to take on and fight Gideon for control of everything. All his companies, the Empire, and the League of Evil X's, everything, because he's like, yo, like, I beat Ramona's new boyfriend. I beat Scott, and I didn't get anything. Like, we don't get Ramona if we win. Which honestly is a very glaring plot hole in the in the original one, because Gideon in this one says, yeah, you were fighting so that I could get her. And that's a very glaring plot hole in the original movie. It's just like, all these guys are fighting Scott, not so that they can get back with Ramona, but because Gideon wants to get back with Ramona. So really, them dying is the only way that Gideon kind of ensures that he doesn't have anyone coming after him. So honestly, Gideon technically wanted Scott to beat all of the other Evil X's, which is really weird if you think about it. Wow, I'm having a conspiracy from like 13 years ago. Anyways, yeah, so Matthew Patel and Gideon Graves have a very big, very cool, might I add, very cool fight at Gideon Graves' tower. And Matthew Patel eventually comes out the victor, like there's a bit of back and forth. There's times when Matthew's winning, there's times when Gideon's winning, but in the end, Matthew comes out the victor, and pretty much while hanging from the edge of his tower, Gideon signs away everything, and he's like, "Okay, do it, just kill me now." And Matthew's like, "No, I'm gonna let you suffer." And so he crawls back up, and pretty much Gideon has nothing now, and Matthew Patel is ruling over all of the League of Evil X's and owns all of Gideon's stuff. And what was it? Yeah, kind of a much scarier outcome if you think about it, because like Gideon kind of ruled through just being an a-hole and having money, and money was his power. But Matthew like has actual physical strength and actual like supernatural powers. Like, it's a wonder that in the original movie Gideon didn't just get the snot beat out of him by all the rest of the league, because all of them easily could have beat him in a fight, easily. Like, he only ruled because he had money and power. But yeah, so this is an interesting twist. We're getting a much more evil League of Evil X's, and it's an interesting turn. So at the end of the second episode, pretty much Ramona is going back to work, getting back into her life, and she's going through the subspace highway, which immediately, because she tells Scott, she tells Scott earlier that the reason that she's in his dreams is because, oh yeah, I use a subspace highway that runs through your head, which kind of means that Scott is kind of brainless. But I love what she says, because she says, you can go 3 miles in 15 seconds, which I actually looked up, and it means that inside Scott's brain is a wormhole, and taking that wormhole would make you travel at, I think it was 720 miles per hour. So pretty much instantaneously moving across 3 miles. Well, in Ramona's case, rollerblading. So, yeah, so she goes into that subspace highway thing, and she hears Scott calling out for her, and she realizes that Scott's alive, and that's the end of the second episode. And that's the end of my knowledge as to what happens in Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. Let's check the chat. Matthew pointed out a great point. He really did. And I like that they took the plot hole from the first movie and turned it into a plot. It's kind of like making a donut out of a donut hole, except in reverse. That made sense. It didn't. But yeah. Matthew on top, though. Honestly, the Star or Vegan could just rule if they want to. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, honestly, out of all of them, out of the 7 Evil X's, probably the technical most powerful one is Todd Ingram, which is the super vegan, the guy who's vegan, and so he's pretty much Superman because he's a vegan. And it's kind of funny to say that because he's played by Brandon Ruth, who also played Superman. But yeah. But yeah, him and Lucas Lee, could easily beat Matthew Patel. But I would say Todd, Lucas, and Matthew are the most powerful members of the League of Seven Evil X's. The Katanyagi twins are just kind of, I mean, they can summon dragons with music. That's cool. And the girl Roxy, I think her name is, she is a half ninja, and so she can attack you in a smoke form and punch you. That's what she does. But yeah. Seems like the show's starting out good. Yeah, I mean, it is starting out pretty good. I mean, the only detractions are the ones that I said. Didn't have the intro I wanted, which I understand you can't really do much about that, and the dubbing. But I think I will get used to the dubbing as time goes on. I realize that it's hard to have actors become voice actors doing the same stuff, the same characters they did before, and especially throwing in anime, which is already a very complicated thing to navigate, and having it all work out perfectly. Like, it's not gonna hit perfectly, but it's gonna hit good enough. And that's honestly, that's what Scott Pilgrim is, especially as a character. He's good enough. Which brings up a great point that I would like to point out. A lot of people put down Scott Pilgrim, and specifically because of the first kind of thing that we learn about Scott in the story. It's on page 1 of the comics. It's in the first scene of the movie and in the anime, which is that Scott Pilgrim is dating a high schooler. At the beginning of the story, Scott is 22 and he's dating Knives, who is a 17-year-old. And it's explicitly said in the movie and in the anime that they haven't done anything together, haven't kissed. Like, I think he said they barely held hands, but still, that is doing stuff with a child, and it's not good. You know what word I'm trying to avoid, and yeah, it's not good. It isn't, and so a lot of people really put down Scott, and he's the main character, but they say, hey, he's actually a really horrible guy, and they use him being 22 and dating a 17-year-old as their number one, like, fact against Scott being a good person. There's also the fact that he cheated on his minor girlfriend. So that was the thing. He cheated on both Knives and Ramona. So that's also bad. And then he really just broke Knives' heart. And then in the rest of the story, he really seems like, even when she comes to the show, when he was against the Katanyagi twins, he kind of just runs off and pretends like he doesn't really care about her anymore, which really, really sucks. He really messed up that girl. But I will say, so that's big reasons that a lot of people say Scott Pilgrim is not that great a person. I say that the reason that I loved the movie from the beginning was because Scott was relatable. He was a hopeless romantic, not very strong, not very he was socially awkward, not good at a lot of stuff, kind of a bum, and yet he got up every time. He still went through with fighting all of the evil X's, and he never gave up. And he got the girl in the end, which I thought was great, and it gave me hope. And I mean, yeah, he's not a great guy, but I mean, None of us are great people. And that's why Scott is so relatable, is because he is everything we are and everything we want to be at the same time. He is the flawed individual, he's the human, and he is also the hero that gets the girl in the end that we all want to be. Um, and that's what makes Scott Pilgrim such a three-dimensional character that I absolutely love, and why I'll always say that I'll always relate to Scott Pilgrim, despite his faults. Um, but yeah. Um, I enjoyed the comics and movie. Yeah, I haven't read the comics. I really should. There's so much more. There's so much more content in there to enjoy. But I like the movie. I am okay with the anime. Some people online were saying that the anime was 100% better than the movie. I 100% disagree with those people. Will still say that Scott Pilgrim versus the World, um, outside of the comics, is the best version of Scott Pilgrim. Um, but yeah, the anime is okay. I definitely recommend it. I think you should give it a watch. It's not high quality anime by any means. It's not top tier, but it is good. Not great, but good. Um, well, that is all that I have here today. Uh, I just wanted to say, make sure to check out the video that I just put up today, which is Super Anime Brothers DLC. And make sure to check out my Patreon at www.patreon.com/AfroX. Anyways, keep YouTubing YouTubers. Don't fight the fro. And always remember to press start and stay legendary.